Okay. Welcome everyone to Reinventing Greatness, Interviews with Inspiring Leaders. I'm Shari Goodwin, and I'm so excited today to have my good friend Zoe Sahin here. And welcome, Zoe. So great to see you.
It's so good to see you again, Shari. Thank you so much. I want to start with saying how grateful I am for our friendship and for giving me this opportunity to speak in your platform.
Oh, well, you're amazing. And I'm so grateful that you made the time and the space. So before we jump in, to give folks a little bit of background, I'm a business strategist, a leadership coach. I specialize in reinvention. I'm also a passionate horse lover. I've reinvented myself a number of times. I've known Zoe now for several years, and she's officially, legally known as Zarif Sahin. So, but we all call her Zoe. That's what we fondly call you. And I want to share some of your background before we jump into some questions. So we're just going to have a free-flowing conversation. So listen to this, you guys, because this is so impressive. Zoe is the founder of the American Dream Team at Keller Williams Dulles. I'm reading this because, like I say in other ones, I don't want to miss anything. And she's one of Northern Virginia's trusted top-selling real estate brokers. She's been providing expert real estate services to buyers, sellers, and investors since 2007, and her business is built 90% on referrals. I mean, how cool is that? So she's got deep expertise in her area, which is Loudoun County and the surrounding district, Maryland, Virginia, whole area, probably outside of that too, I'd imagine. And Zoe specializes in luxury home sales, and she's earned widespread respect of distinguished local and international clientele. I'm going to pause here for a moment. If any of you guys hear a little sniffing in the background, I have my two dogs in here. It's not me, it's them sniffing. So we keep it real here. The dogs love to participate. Zoe is known for her incisive business skills, hard work ethic, and her unwavering devotion to her clients' best interest. Her strategic counsel and insightful analysis help her be successful, but her strong proficiency in negotiation is ultimately what sets her apart. We're going to talk about this. Zoe's been recognized as the top real estate agent by Smart CEO magazine, the top 100 women who mean business by the Loudoun Business Journal, and she's received the International Women's Leadership Award by the American Turkish Association. She's been featured in publications and podcast platforms, including the Huffington Post, the Loudoun Times Magazine, the UV Effect, and True Conversations, and now here with us. Zoe takes pride in giving back to the community by advocating for women's empowerment initiatives, and she's done a TEDx talk, which has gained attention globally and aided legislators in changing laws to protect young girls. Her volunteer work includes serving as a board member for the Loudoun Abused Women's Shelter, Final Salute, Homes for Homeless Female Veterans, Virginia Women's Business Conference, and KW Agent Leadership Council, as well as coaching new agents towards their successful careers. And then in her spare time, like you have any, you like to travel, spend time with your 3 daughters, read, and run marathons. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's especially great to be here with you during this time because as we're recording this, we're still kind of in this pandemic, this time of uncertainty. And I don't know about you, but even for me, I tend to be a glass half full kind of person. Positivity is one of my best strengths. But I get like this, you know, every day. We were just talking before we came on about it's a daily choice, right? To choose positivity and optimism. So tell us, just to start, because we were just having this conversation, what do you do now during this whole COVID pandemic? You know, have you changed your routine, or what specific things do you do to be able to stay optimistic and be able to move forward?
Well, absolutely. Shari, you and I, we both are on the same boat. Do I ride the wave? Yes, sometimes it goes up and down, but we have a choice. I mean, we are in control of how we want our lives to pan out. So for me, has it been hard when it first started? Yes, it has been a shock, but instead of just sitting down and trying to wait for everything to get better is not a choice that I like to take. I like to have a little bit more control. And over the years, I have developed a sense of positivity, I should say. I like to look at everything from a sense of positivity. Anything that happens in my life has happened for a purpose, whether it's good or bad. There is a good behind every experience, I should say. So I look at it as, okay, this is a new experience. It's an unknown experience, but a lot of people get afraid of the unknown. And, in the future, a lot of people don't take that step forward because of the unknown. And, in our minds, the fear plays out. And the fear usually plays out negative or horrible thoughts in our minds based on our previous experiences or observations. So it's familiar to be afraid of something new. In my personal experience, I have overcome a lot of bad experiences and came out better. So during this particular pandemic, the first thing I had to do is sit back and pause for a second. Pause and figure out, what is this new experience that I'm getting into? Is it under my control or is it not under my control? And if it's not under my control, what can I do to control? And that is how I want to approach it myself. And my health was important, and I had to protect my children, myself, and my clients. That is number one. I try to focus on the smaller things. Like the pandemic, I cannot control. That is a huge thing. That's somebody else's job to control. But what I can control is my daily activities and my daily intake. What am I taking into my mind, into my experience? So when it first started, the first thing I did is pause and try to figure out, okay, where's this going? What is the immediate future? And that was all the establishments and businesses were closing. And luckily, my business was essential. But I had to figure out, how do I continue business, in this pandemic when we're not supposed to contact one another. So the second thing I did is improve my knowledge. That was under my control. I could read books, I could research, I could follow, the updates of the pandemic and what are the new rules and regulations. That's number two. I read a lot, especially during this year. I probably read more than I ever did in my life. So I read a lot, I improved my knowledge, and then I started playing around with things that are fun. I didn't want to sit down and be afraid. So I started playing around with technology and the things that are fun. But my main focus was me. And a lot of people think that's selfish, but unfortunately, we have to focus on us first so we can help others.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, so impressive on so many levels, including that you think technology is fun. Good for you.
It's not easy for sure, but it can be fun if you want it to be. It can be a lot of fun. I mean, anything that you do, whether that is in sports, whether that's in a new habit or in knowledge, it takes time to get better at it. So for me, playing around with technology, it was frustrating. But after a few tries, it was kind of fun. It got better. My team and I, my team member Chiquita and I, we tried to figure out and we tried to master virtual showings. And how do we do that? Do we do it with just our cell phones? And to perfect it each time, we failed. We failed probably 3 or 4 times, and we laughed about it. We laughed how funny it turned out. We didn't focus on, oh, this is going so bad, let's not try it again. We said, well, that one didn't go well. Next time we're going to do better. Next time we're going to do better. The next time we're going to do more. And we perfected it within less than a month, and we have so much fun doing those now. So really, it's like building a muscle. You have to keep trying the same thing over and over again until it's perfect.
Yeah, boy, and you guys have done well. I mean, I've been following you on Facebook for a long time now, many years. I think we've known each other maybe almost 10 years. And just the growth, you guys are growing right now in the pandemic, right?
We are thriving, thank goodness. We didn't expect it, Shari. It just happened because we weren't focusing on money. We were focusing on how do we serve our clients better in this pandemic? How do we continue to serve? So when you focus on a certain thing, it grows. Gary Keller always says, what you focus on expands. And there were so many new systems and so many new things that came about it was actually mind-boggling. So much information was coming at us. And so we sat down and said, okay, what are we going to take? What are we going to master? And we took one thing and we focused on that thing. So we could really do so many different ways of continuing real estate, but we focused on virtual platforms. So we changed our platform. We have so many different ways of putting that virtual platform together. And we wanted to make sure that our clients are enjoying and trusting us during that virtual experience. So we created a virtual experience for our clients, and it's been amazing. For instance, we were already investing and kind of like dabbling around, playing around with 3D virtual tours. It's like a video game. And this pandemic was a blessing in disguise. It actually pushed us. It pushed us to do something different. So the way I look at this virus is, yes, it can kill people, but it can also push you out of your comfort zone. It can push you out of your comfort zone to do better. It kind of accelerated the digital platform that we were already thinking about building. It just gave us the time and the space to do it now. So the 3D virtual tours, the virtual walkthrough showings that we do with our cameras, and then the virtual sign-in options, the virtual contracts to closing, it has become an experience that the clients actually enjoy and they trust us. And one thing after another, we built on that experience. The first one was good. It was scary. It was nerve-wracking. But once you have that experience, you keep building on it. You keep going after the same feeling. So I want to give you an example. When I first ran my marathon, I ran it without experience. The most I ran was about 10 miles, and then I got kind of thrown into a marathon. So with mindset and with ambition, I ran it. I was in bed for a week afterwards because I was exhausted, but it taught me something. It taught me how to prepare for it, how to train for it. And what I've learned out of that marathon is that, mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. How you look at things is everything. If you go into an experience thinking that this is the worst experience, you're going to attract and you're going to create your own experience or bad experience. If you think of like, well, this is new, this is exciting, and if you go into it with an open and positive mind, you're creating your own positive experience. And that feeling is contagious. It's addictive. For me, when I ran my first marathon, the end zone, when I reached that end line, when I passed it, I cried because I've never had an experience like that before. It broke me down, but it built me back up. And I felt like, wow, I'm superhuman. I did this by myself. That feeling of accomplishing something, I started chasing that feeling more and more. When you have a good feeling, you want to feel it more. Your brain is wired to gear you away from the unknown because it wants to go back to familiarity. But once you start experiencing something good, you also crave that. You also yearn for that same feeling over and over and over again. And that's what happened during this pandemic. We focused on what can we control, how can we better our business, or how can we improve our knowledge. And each experience, we laugh about it. If it doesn't work, we try again. We try again until it's perfect. And so our saving grace was really focusing on one thing and mastering it. So our focus was on virtual platforms. We changed everything into virtual experiences, and it's been amazing. It's something that's not out there. It's starting to grow, but you know what? Direction is, I don't think we're going back. People are learning how to work from home. People are learning how to run a business from their cell phones or from their computers. So I honestly am enjoying it, and I just like that feeling of positivity, and it just attracts more and more good things into your life.
That it does, and you are walking proof of that, living proof of it. And it's, I love what you're saying about, well, there's so much there, but the focus, choosing one thing to focus on is so incredibly important. And the other part of this is giving yourself permission to go after that feeling, to find that feeling and to explore that feeling. And as a business strategist, you're always talking about vision. What's your vision and all of that? And sometimes what I've found over the years is folks are not clear. They can see out a little ways, but it's blurry and it's confusing, and they get frightened and they shrink back, and then they don't take any action at all. And what I'm encouraging folks is, what I love what you said, is to find that feeling place. Where does it feel good already?
Exactly.
What do you want more of? And so that new feeling becomes a new reference point for you, right? And you want to drop into that feeling more and more. Same thing with the horses. I work with these horses. They're looking at energy all the time, and they're gravitating towards what feels good, that they can trust, and moving away from things that they fear. And people do that too. So I'm curious, I want to go back, because what you're talking about now is so fabulous. It's the current day experience, the huge pivots you've made, the learning curve, the self-educating to make sure that you said you read more books than ever, just to get yourself repositioned, better positioned, incorporating technology, hiring new people. So awesome. So I'm hearing some patterns from way back, from when you were young.
Exactly.
So take us back there, because you're not from the United States, and I think this journey is so incredibly impressive. So can you share a little bit about your journey to the United States and some of your early years?
Sure, I'd love to. So a lot of people don't know my history. I had a unique marriage. I was born and raised in Germany, but when I was about 11 or 12 years old, my parents were Turkish, and they decided to move back to their home country, which is Turkey, and take us children with them. So we moved back to Turkey. There was a huge cultural difference. I grew up in Europe, and my mother language was German there. And then we moved back to Turkey. And in Turkey, I had to learn a new language, make new friends, learn a new culture. It was a completely different setting. So I see your dog there. It's so cute.
She might jump up on the chair here in a second.
Anyway, that was when I was young. I kind of was thrown into a change like that. The first time I remember going through a change was during that move to Turkey. And, luckily I had a great teacher who would pull me to the front of the class instead of hiding in the back of the class. And she was kind of like pushing me into learning and making new friends. So I really appreciated that. But I started loving school so much. I was learning, I was changing. And then at the age of 14, I came home one day, and my parents were meeting, the elders were meeting, and they were deciding my marriage. And they were arranging my marriage at the age of 14. So, I was a little shocked. I was not sure what was going on, but I was raised in a very disciplined family that whatever your parents decide, that's what you do. You don't question it. So I had gone into an arranged marriage. My ex-husband, now ex-husband, is from America. He's a Turkish American, and he brought me here to the United States. I was a child bride. I came here when I was pregnant. And when I came here, life was very, very different. It wasn't like the move that I did from Germany to Turkey. It was much different. I was pregnant to become a mom at a very young age. I was married, and I was in a completely different country, no friends, no language. So what I've learned in that experience, Shari, is as an escape, because it wasn't a comfortable experience, or it was actually a bad experience for me. I've learned how to escape from reality by going inside. And that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I started seeking who I am, or seeking some sort of peace and a different reality than what my outer experience was providing for me inside. I would go inside and I would start imagining a life different than what my outer experience was doing at the moment. So when you go inside and when you practice this meditative state over and over and over again, you learn something. And what I've learned from that experience is visualization and dreams are actually a foundation. It's the starting point of how you can pivot your life. You have to be able to see in your mind something that you can't see with your eyes yet. So when you actually go inside and you start forming this reality that you want to create, and you actually get excited about it, it pushes you into action. So I would say go back to what you said earlier, visualizing a reality different than what you are experiencing at the moment. So this pandemic is giving us a hard experience, a difficult experience, but we can create a vision that is different than what we're experiencing now. For instance, when I said I stepped back for a minute, I paused for a minute, that pause was a meditative state. I would wake up every morning, and before I go to bed every night, I meditate, and in my mind, I create a reality that's different than this pandemic. I create a reality where I'm thriving in a pandemic. And when you actually start seeing it in your mind so clear, and it's hard to do that, you have to practice it over and over again. But if you can see it so clear, an excitement starts in your heart starts opening up, and I call that the fire that pushes you. So visualization and the fire that pushes you. So when your heart opens up and you start getting excited about it, and you come back to the reality that you are in now, it pushes you to take some kind of an action to reach that reality that you dreamed about. So for me, in my marriage, it was a horrible experience, and I wanted a different life, because in that marriage, I ended up having 3 daughters. I loved them so much. They were my priority, but I was visualizing a different experience for them than what I experienced. I wanted a better life for them. I wanted for them to have a lot more than what I could live. So when I was visualizing a dream of sending them to college, allowing them to fall in love and choose who they want to be married to, it made my heart so happy that I tried to chase that feeling again. I wanted to be happy like that again. And small things. It starts with small steps. You have to start with small actions. It doesn't have to be jumping from one end to the other. It takes one step at a time to finish a whole life of marathon. So my first step was, well, I didn't like my experience with my husband. I started saving a little bit of money here and there. And over time, that money grew and grew and grew and gave me confidence to get out of the marriage. That it's scary to get out of a marriage where you don't know anybody here, you don't have proper language. But, when you have a dream that you're walking towards, and you know that that reality is much better than what you are leaving, it actually is a wonderful action process, I should say. That visualization coupled with the feeling of excitement pushes you into action to take one step at a time, and then it becomes a momentum. It just gets bigger and bigger. Same with the pandemic. I paused for a minute to meditate, and a lot of people might not believe in this, but I asked the divine, what am I supposed to do? I'm open to receive. And the answers come to you when you ask questions like that. The answers will come to you from the inside. So I don't look at the divine as an outside realm. I look at the divine as something inside of me that I'm born with, and I tap into that over and over again, and I get the answers from inside. So the funny thing is, this morning I woke up and I read something on Facebook. I'd like to share that with you. We just talked about how we need to focus on positive things and things that make us feel good, right? This morning, the president of Keller Williams, he posted something on Facebook, and I was drawn to that post, and he said something in line of, Facebook, in Facebook, when you look at your feed, if you're seeing horrible things and negative things over and over again, it's because you clicked on something, maybe a news, or maybe you clicked on something, or you read something. So the algorithm of Facebook is designed so that whatever you look at, it will give you more of that. It will start filling your Facebook feed with more of that stuff or similar stuff. So he said, we have control of what we can see in Facebook. Click on the things that are positive. Click on the things that are contributing to positivity or good experiences, and we can actually change the whole dynamic of Facebook. Or we can change the dynamic of this political area. I don't want to get into politics, but we have control of what we read or what we take in. We have to be very cognizant of what we take in, because what we take in is what we get out.
Yeah, and that's such a great point. You know, what I'm hearing is the sense of being proactive. You know, I hear you being proactive during your entire life, and you continue that to this day. No matter what's happening in the outside environment, you have an inside compass, an internal compass, this divine, this connection, where you're like, okay, here's what's going on out here. Hold on, press pause, to drop in here and see, do I want to do that, or is there something better feeling? You know, what do I really want to get out? And then manifest, create externally. And I just love that about you, because I just see you doing it over and over again. And even when you started this morning, telling about all the books that you're reading, and it reminded me of something you shared a while back with me about you learning English. So share with folks how you learned English.
When I came to America, I did not know English. Mind you, I was very young. I was pregnant. I wasn't going to school here. So, you know, you make with what you have. You make the best of what you have. And the best I had was staying at home with my daughter and her watching Sesame Street. So we would sit down, and it's funny now, and it's unbelievable, but I mastered the English language through Sesame Street. My daughter was learning how to speak. She was a toddler. She was a young girl. But I was learning how to speak a third language. So I was taking everything in, and I was getting excited because I was able to start communicating with people in English. I would take her to a pediatrician, and I would understand what he's saying. I would take her to the playground, and I would understand what the mothers are saying. So learning English, I mean, learning can be anywhere. Learning doesn't have to be in a formal setting. It's great that we can learn in a formal setting, but wherever you are, you can actually learn from experiences. You can make the best of what you have. And I'm going to go back to this pandemic now. The pandemic can be scary if you make it scary. But the pandemic can actually be a wonderful push, a wonderful reason to break out of a comfort zone and create a new experience.
Definitely, and you're right about learning. I mean, the education is everywhere, and every moment is an opportunity to learn. I'm learning right now from you, and I'm thinking back to when I was a young kid. We used to get Chinese takeout a lot, and of course, the fortune cookies were our favorite parts. We'd be running in there, we'd break open the fortune cookie, and I remember one. I must have been a teenager, and it said, "Control your own destiny, or someone else will." I'm like,
I love that. I actually have
right?
that written somewhere. I love that. It's so true. If I may expand on that, Shari, we had a discussion before in another platform, you and I. I read a book. It's called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective Leaders.
Yep.
And some of the things that he's talking about in there is your reality. So, and the two different types of people. There are the proactive people who will take action, and they will not be feeling sorry for themselves, or they will not engage in any victim mentality. They will take action to actually create a different reality. And then there's the reactive people. The reactive people fall victim to their circumstances. And if they are in an uncomfortable or unpleasant circumstance, they will focus on that circumstance more than they can focus on what they can control or what they are at the moment. So for instance, if you're in a group setting and you're in a project and the project is not going the way you want it because somebody in that group you don't like. So, we tend to complain. Our natural reaction is to complain, to focus on that thing that's not going right. And, a lot of people think that focusing on the things that doesn't go right will help them create a solution. In my opinion, instead of focusing on the problem more, focusing on the solution, not the problem, but the solution, and being more contributing to the solution process, you can walk away from that. So the reactive people play the victim mentality. Poor me, It's because of, my circumstances, the people around me, or there is the proactive people who don't focus on their circumstances. They focus on how they can do and be better.
Definitely. And so I wonder about, and I see you doing this all the time because I read your Facebook posts, we're friends on Facebook. Every time we talk, we both get all fired up and energized, which is so fun. And I'm thinking about, so one of the first things you said was there's this pause, right? So when things are starting to get all kind of crazy, looks out of control, you're not sure, you're uncomfortable, whatever, you pause. How did you train yourself? Because a lot of folks that I've worked with or met even, they go into reactive mode quick, and what happens is when they don't do the pause, so they go into the reactive mode, and then they're steamrolled because there's this momentum of reactivity, right? And it's like, oh, it becomes harder and harder to get back up and get a perspective. So how did you train yourself, or what advice do you have for folks to be able to even know that they have to take that pause?
So that pause, Shari, can be 5 minutes or it can be days. Whatever time you need to come to an understanding. So that pause for me is seeking to understand. And I'm sure you're reading it on a lot of different books where they say, seek to understand first. And it doesn't necessarily mean just people. You need to pause for a minute, seek to understand first, what is the situation at this moment and where am I? And I like the power of now. I read the book, The Power of Now, and you need to understand where you are now, who you are now, and then the possibilities. So that pause for me is a moment of reflection, of coming to an understanding where I am now, my circumstances, the people in my world, the things that I'm doing at the moment, and then focus on the possibilities that I can create for myself, for my business, for the people around me, instead of focusing on the problem. Yes, acknowledge that there's a problem, but then focus, take a pause, seek to understand first, and then take a step towards the possibilities. I want to give you a little fable or a little something that I read. Actually, I read it on Facebook. There were.
Oh, we have a tiny little bit of screen
in front of the gentleman. He was. Oh, okay. Yep. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Just repeat the last thing that you just said, because somehow the internet just froze.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell you a little story that I actually read on Facebook. And the story goes where the gentleman is running late to his job, and he was impatient, and he was rushing, and they were stopped at a red light. And the car in front of him did not move when the red light turned green. And he started honking and honking, getting more impatient, getting his hand out of the window, yelling. The person in front of him jumped out of the car. It was a female, and she was on the phone, and she said, "What is your rush?" And he said, "I'm late. I have to get to work." So at that moment, she took off her wig, she bared her bald head and said, "There are people that have worse problems. You're not late. You're still living." So that taught me a lesson. That taught me a lesson to understand that the world is not the worst at this moment for just me. A lot of people have problems. A lot of people are seeking solutions. So that pause is a moment of reflection for me. I need to acknowledge, I need to seek to understand first, and then focus on the possibilities.
So powerful. Yeah, The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle, and all these books that you and I both read, a lot of the same books, and share different kinds of authors. And it's wonderful because there's always ongoing learning. And when you were talking about igniting the fire within, I think you call it, and I was thinking about the Heart Math Institute. So I've read tons of work from them, and really, as the heart is the biggest electromagnetic emitter in our body, right? So we can connect. Even though I'm not here with you, I can feel your heart.
And there is truth to that.
So, so being able to almost put out into the world in advance of your physical being, right? You're putting out the energy, and that energy will then manifest the physical. And there is a delay in there sometimes. So I think I heard you say earlier about, being patient and just keep doing it. And if it kind of fails or whatever, you laugh, you learn from it, and you just keep going until you make it perfect. And I love that. And I love that you've surrounded yourself too with what it seems to be amazing people, and you're hiring new folks, and you're so supportive of them, and seem very sincerely committed to their growth and their well-being as well. Talk a little bit about the team, and I know you and I could talk all day, like I want to be mindful of the time, but share a little bit about leading your team. What's kind of your overall leadership philosophy, if you will.
Oh, I love this subject. Honestly, I've never looked at myself as a leader. I look at myself as a servant. I am here to serve. For me, I was lucky enough to have people that trust me and want to follow me and want to be a part of the world that I'm creating. American Dream Team has a great meaning, and I'm not going to reveal too much because we're about to launch something new, and I will do that soon. But the American dream is actually working hard in the pursuit of happiness. And for me, it means a lot because the way I came to United States and the way I was able to take advantage of the opportunities that are given to us. We forget how blessed we are, how privileged we are. This country is full of opportunities. Our lives are full of opportunities. There's so much abundance going on, and people take that for granted. So for me, coming to America, getting out of an experience that I was not happy in, and being able to take these opportunities and build a world that I am happy in, and other people wanting to be a part of that world is a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. So for me, instead of calling myself a leader or a team leader or a boss or anything, I don't enjoy that. I enjoy allowing them into my world. And if I'm able to teach them, if I'm able to pull them with me into a better reality, I am happy. So it starts with the people around you. The people want to be in your world. So I welcome them. And, the people are actually very smart in my team. My team members are an extension of me. I don't think I would be where I am now without my team. So I look at them as, what talents are they bringing to my world where we can serve our people better, our clients better? What can we do in the world to make this world a little bit better? So my team, during this pandemic, I did get phone calls from my team members where they were throwing in the flag and saying, I don't know about this real estate business at this moment. This is scary. It took a while to have conversations. So remember what I said. I paused for a minute. I stopped business for a minute because I needed to get my team into the mindset of, we can do this. We can overcome this. This pandemic is not bigger than me. Within us, we are born with such abundance and such power. We needed to tap into that. So I think one of the things that I am able to provide for my team is the positive outlook in life and in business, and getting them to see the vision and the possibilities, and they do the work themselves. So I really enjoy working with them. I enjoy allowing them a bigger mindset or a vision of what's possible for them. And then the whole experience of working in the team becomes pleasurable.
You're amazing, Zoe. You're so inspiring. Oh my gosh, I'm going to come work for your team. I'll sell real estate.
I would love that. I would love that.
Gosh. Well, I just thank you so much for inviting me into your world and allowing me to be part of your world, and for joining us on this program today. And I mean, there's so much here. We'll be putting down your website, your contact information, so folks can reach you. Do you have any final words before we close out for today?
I do. So what I would highly recommend for people who are feeling a sense of uncertainty at this moment is, sit down for a minute and go over everything you love about yourself, everything you love about your life, everything you love about your people in your world. And, focus on that every single day. Focus on what you have now, be grateful for what you have now, and really, genuinely try to sit down and visualize a possibility, a world, a different world than your reality right now. I do believe that, creation is in two processes. Number one is the energetic, the spiritual process, which starts in the mind. So visualization and dreaming is important. Create that that experience in your mind that you would like to bring into reality. And then there is the physical reality. If you can, sit down and be grateful for everything that you have and are now. And I'll give you a mantra. And I hope this doesn't sound too bad, but one of my things that I say as soon as I wake up is, I'm grateful for everything that I am, everything that I have, and everything that is now. So when you start a day like that, grateful, and you start dreaming and thinking about the possibilities that you want to create, your heart opens up, you get excited about the things that are possible, you forget about the fears, you forget about the pandemic. That fear diminishes because fear and excitement are two energies that really doesn't exist physically. You're creating those energetically. So why not focus on possibilities?
Whew, wow. Well, I'm all buzzed up like normal every time we talk, and especially today. So thank you so much for sharing such incredible insights and brilliance and your background. And I'm just so excited for you and for your team and for your future and for me because I'm your friend.
I have known you for so long, but one thing that we keep saying, and I haven't done, I really would like to put that on the calendar after we talk today. I would love to meet Lemon Squeezy and see how energetically him and I meet, how we do when we. Lemon Squeezy seems to be the horse of my dreams, and I would like to see and learn how you work with him.
Oh my gosh. Well, anytime, as soon as we're clear, you can come out. That's actually a little photo of a painting of him that a friend of mine did, Kathy Gregory. She's a wonderful artist and gave that to me. So anytime, I can't wait for you to meet the herd and to come out and spend some time and give you a hug, like a real hug.
I know, I have a question before I let you go. I know you asked me a lot of questions. And I've been wondering, we talked about how humans are focusing on the pandemic or their reactions to the pandemic. How has Lemon Squeezy been behaving?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. It's really interesting. We could do a whole show on the horse reaction and animal reactions to the pandemic. And some of it is a response to the human energy, right? So there's been a disturbance in the force, and their animals are pretty sensitive to that. Some are more sensitive than others. He's fine. He's pretty cool, solid dude in his self-awareness, I think. But his buddy had a lot of trouble, Noble, who's his herd mate, who's a lot older. And Noble was very sensitive to the environmental disturbance or societal, I don't know, it was weird. So he got pretty stressed out, and so much so that he really needed a pause. And we had to take a big pause and take all the pressure off. And I mean, there's not much pressure anyway, but no riding, no nothing, no just chill out. He needed some space. Lemon Squeezy needed to give him some space. Lemon Squeezy's not great about giving the horses space. But anyway, the animals, we're a world full of beings, right? And we're all interrelated, and you know that, and I know that. And so, of course, there's going to be ripple effects that we're not even aware of. And I love your advice on picturing, imagining some beautiful experience for yourself, for your work, and stepping into that in your mind first, and then being able to start to carry it out step by step as you so clearly outlined today. So thank you for that. And this is just one of numerous conversations that we'll have in the future, I'm sure.
You and I can talk for hours.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, my dear friend. And congratulations on all your success and showing us all how to thrive and enjoy being human, enjoy being having the human experience, right?
Exactly. We're only here for a limited time, and why not make this experience a great one, right?
Well said.
Thank you so much, Shari. I appreciate you having me here today.
Absolutely. All righty, take care. Bye.